Tom and Rita, we really want to know that you will be ready when life asks, did you plan for this? And what I see from their story and from some of the things that are public is that just like anybody else, in a blended family and so on, they have some pretty interesting estate planning issues to overcome.
Did you plan for this, or did you miss when life demands answers you can't dismiss? Will you be ready when the trumpet blows? Do you have the blueprint for life's unknowns?
Hey, Ron, I'm a big fan of Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson. So exciting for me to see that Rita went out there to do her music and stuff. It seems like they have such a supportive, mutual kind of marriage.
I hope so.
I do too. I do too.
Because I'm going to tell you my story.
Oh yeah, I'm fascinated about your Rita Wilson connection.
My Rita Wilson. So Rita, if you're watching, listening, reach out to Ron Greenwald.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be so fun. So it's my understanding that Tom Hanks was married before he married Rita, and he had 2 children by his first wife, who unfortunately, sadly died of bone cancer.
Yeah, 849.
Oh, yeah, that's rough.
Hopefully she planned for this.
Yeah. And so then life continues, right? And then he and Rita married, and they had 2 kids. So Tom has 4 kids, Rita has 2 kids. So that's a pretty common blended family kind of situation. And we know that Tom and Rita both have been wildly successful in their respective careers. What questions come to your mind about a couple like that? And I really want to hear about your connection with Rita Wilson.
Well, first I'll talk about my connection to the Wilson family.
Okay.
Rita Wilson, her Greek descent, and her and I grew up together.
Oh.
We went to Valley View Elementary School together in the Cahuenga Pass in the Hollywood Hills of California. And the reason her father literally both her mom and dad literally off the boat coming to America after World War II, I believe. And the reason their last name was changed to Wilson was because he wanted to change as you know, it's a very Greek or Bulgarian last name. And he changes it to Wilson because they moved on to Woodrow Wilson Drive, where Valley View Elementary School is located. And I lived on the opposite side of the Hollywood freeway growing up. So we grew up together, and I don't know, I hope Lily, her older sister, is still, she would be in her early 70s now. Hopefully she's doing great and doing fantastic. So Rita, Lily, and I all worked for a gentleman named George Bozhian. So Bozhian was the Armenian in my world. I have a Jewish heritage, and then we have the Greek. And this was a very international little mom and pop grocery store on Cahuenga Boulevard called Oakcrest Market. God love it. And it literally, this is back in the 60s. I went there. We all worked there from the time we were 11 years of age on up, way before any
new child labor laws.
And we were all working for 50 cents an hour. And Rita, even as a child, this was her passion. This was her mission, is to be in the entertainment industry. Now, we are in Hollywood, so it was easy to go that route. So God love her. She fulfilled that. So we all worked together at Oakcrest Market. And so when I was about 12 or 13, coming of age, so to speak, I was madly infatuated and madly in love with Lily Wilson, who was like 3 years older than me. So she was like a junior or senior in high school. I'm like in 8th or 9th grade, and just madly in love with her sister. So Lily, if you're out there, God love you. I still love you. And Rita, congratulations on all your success. The big fat Greek wedding, even to make the story even more encompassing, I married a Greek and have 3 children through that marriage. And the big fat Greek wedding was so on point, so real. We were literally rolling on the floor. And you can imagine Stephanie's, my first wife, my ex-wife's mother and father did not quite appreciate the movie as much as we did, but it was great and it was fantastic. And congratulations on your success. So I hope everybody's doing well. My connection to Rita and Lily, I mean, I have followed your career, obviously, and I know you've suffered through some cancer scare, and I believe you've went through dementia with your mom, if I remember the story right. So God love you all, and I hope you're doing great.
Well, it just proves that, celebrities are people too, right? We have our families, we have our quirks, we have life happen, right? And I'm fascinated because I wonder about their estate planning. And of course, and on the one hand, it's none of our business, but we've learned a lot from Tom Hanks in his career and his way of being, portraying Mr. Rogers, right? The wonderful portrayal of Forrest Gump. Talk about the life lessons that we've learned over the decades that
And what
we've
he's done
enjoyed.
for military veterans.
Oh yeah, and his heart is really out there in all of his work. So Tom and Rita, we really want to know that you will be ready when life asks, did you plan for this? And what I see from their story and from some of the things that are public is that just like anybody else, in a blended family and so on, they have some pretty interesting estate planning issues to overcome. Tom has been so successful, so is Rita. How does that work for Tom's children from his previous marriage? Are they all close? Who would Tom and Rita pick to run their estate when they can no longer do so themselves? Independent Trustee Alliance is a proud nonprofit sponsor of Plan for This. If you are considering serving as a trustee, please visit trusteealliance.com to learn more about this complex and sometimes overwhelming job. trusteealliance.com. Plan for This thanks the Estate Sale Warehouse for all their amazing service and support. Entire home cleanouts, inventory, appraisal, auctions, sale of fine art and classic cars. Learn more at estatesalewarehouse.com.
Well, I will advise no co-trustee. We haven't talked about that much, so maybe we could hit on that with this situation.
Okay.
If they were decide to pick one from, if Tom and Rita said we want one from my prior marriage and one from the current from Rita,
right?
What would your thoughts be?
So we've got Colin and Elizabeth
from the first marriage,
from Tom's first marriage,
and Colin has done quite a bit of television,
right? And then we've got Chet and Truman from Tom and Rita's marriage. Would we go ahead and make Chet and Colin co-trustees?
No.
So can I just say about co-trusteeship, it's very much like putting two steering wheels on the same car. I remember doing the talk at Estate Planning 101, the class I taught years ago, and I had a student who objected to my saying co-trusteeship's not a good idea. He asked me if I knew how an airplane works. Well, my dad was an aircraft mechanic, back in the Navy, back in those days. And so, yes, sir, I know that there are dual controls in an airplane. There's a pilot and a co-pilot, and each one of them has the controls for the airplane. So I asked him, so if the pilot wants to go one way and the co-pilot wants to go another, where does the plane go? And he thought about it for a moment and he said, well, the strongest of the two of them. Why? Because it's a dual control, right? So think about that for a moment in terms of co-trusteeship. And now I want to ask, do you and your life partner agree about everything? Everything? Probably not.
And do the 4 children agree on everything?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. Not only would there be a difference in their ages,
generationally almost,
right? But wouldn't Rita's children favor Rita's needs? Wouldn't Tom's children, all of them are Tom's children. How does it work? How does it feel? What is Thanksgiving like at their house, right? And so we can't just do estate planning with just the facts and just the data. We have to do estate planning from feelings too. And that's one of the reasons why people don't do this. One of the reasons why people don't get an estate plan done is because overcoming the feelings is really hard.
Admitting that maybe not everybody gets along.
Or you're trying, by doing a co-trusteeship, you're trying to give everyone equal love and equal power. But in California, essentially, each co-trustee is 100% liable for everything that happens in the trust, whether they know about it or not. So now you have two people with equal power, but one goes to this bank and the other goes to this bank. So banks even have a struggle with this. They want two signatures on every check if you're going to be co-trustees. So if you're two people that you're thinking about being co-trustees are going to keep an eye on each other, that is already a source of tension and a way for the two of those people not to agree with each other.
Well, I have a very personal story on co-trustees.
Oh, tell me.
Well, I'll be careful about it. So, but it is very close to the family, and I will do a shout out. I won't mention the last name. I'll just say, your sisters love you. And I'm just hoping after so many years, you'll reach out to them and let's try to have Thanksgiving together. There was no ill intent. And so there was a co-trusteeship between a brother and a sister. And this gentleman suffered incapacity during the time of the estate settlement. And during that time, the co-trustee, his sister, had to make some decisions. And when he got his capacity back, it caused a total dissolution of the relationship between the siblings.
Oh.
And so it's been too many years. Again, your sisters were at your bedside morning, noon, and night. So I'm hoping that you're listening and you will come to the realization that they had your best interest at heart. So that's my...
If you would welcome a message like that, comment below. It's really tough when we have such big feelings, life-changing feelings. And would you welcome being reached out to over all these years by someone who loved you before the incident or before the misunderstanding? Making up is a beautiful thing, but it's not easy for everyone. And sometimes you need a third party to help out with that. Ron,
I'm there for you to be the, but it's a very common storyline. And this is right in my own world. So I've been there, done that.
Yeah. And I want to talk about birth order a little bit. And I want to talk about co-trusteeship in the sense that, we want everyone to get along. There's no parent in the world that would choose to have their children fight with each other. That's not in any family, not in any culture I can think of. Is that okay? And we are not all kings of England, right? We're not all having to figure out
princes or whatever we are. Yeah.
Well, but just that idea. We look at the royal family of England with both admiration and awe, and we also look at them as people, right? And I'm going to use them as an example briefly. Part of the progenitor thing, part of the whole thing about that is one person is in the seat, right? Just one person occupies the monarchy at a time. Why? Because it's really tough to have two people have the job of the final say. And there's good reason for that, right? They've had thousands of years to figure it out. And so you rarely see co-monarchy. It's usually one or the other. Now, there's support, there's love, there's the family relationships and so on, but usually one person is in charge. So when we talk about a husband and wife building an estate plan, they do share a trust. They might both be trustees of that trust. They both are the trustors, the creator settlors. And we talked about this before, employer, employee, trustor, trustee. And yet one of them is probably the one who pays the bills all the time. It is very rare for a couple together every month to sit together and pay the bills. And by the way, if that's your style, all power to
God
you,
love you,
right?
Yeah. Especially online now.
Yeah, I would love to see your comments. Is it you or your spouse? Who's the bill payer at your house?
And why?
I'll tell you why at my house, because my husband's really great at it.
Oh,
And I trust him, and I do this work professionally for other people. It is such a luxury, such a nice thing that in our household, my husband's the one who pays the
see,
bills.
it's opposite in mine.
Yeah.
Because Linda, as school teacher, organizational skills off the charts. So,
Well, we each have someone who supports our home life in the most beautiful way, and we
Right.
really appreciate it. So what happens if something happens to the bill payer? So when we talk about co-trusteeship, maybe it works because two siblings know each other's limitations and talents, and they're willing to talk about who does what job. And both of them are in such good communication and they get along so well that bumps in the road don't derail their relationship. What actually happens for a lot of people who end up as co-trustees is there's a little bit of distrust and there's a little bit of miscommunication, and it can really blow up and change relationships forever. And here's another thing. If you're getting your estate plan done, please don't assume the person you're naming is going to want this job. Like any job you'd hire for, like if you're going to have your kitchen remodeled, I hope you interview more than one contractor. Maybe the first contractor you really like, it's someone you know, maybe someone you've worked with before, and you want to hire that person. But there's something to be said for being a smart consumer. And you have a second person look at the same job. You might discover that the price you were quoted is so much more than you should pay. Or you might discover that there may be something else you want that you didn't know before. So you have to think about every hiring opportunity as a learning opportunity. Same thing with who's going to be your successor trustee. Who's going to do this important work for you when the time comes? And we have a checklist. We have a toolkit for you. Join us at planforthis.com. Become a subscriber. We want to hear your story and we want to provide you with good information so you're making good choices for yourself. We are not offering our services. We don't do estate plans. I'm not serving as your trustee, but I want you to be empowered. I want you to be a smart client.
So who's the first? Who's the oldest?
So the oldest one appears to be Colin.
Colin, that's right, because he's appeared in several TV shows. So the question would be, Colin. I mean, a lot of people go to their firstborn, the oldest one. Not always, but that is a common theme. Do you want the response of the fiduciary? Now, he's an artist. He's an actor. He may not be great on the number side of the equation. He may, left brain,
well, even
right
if
brain.
he is, he might be out of the country filming or something.
Right. He may be whatever.
Yeah.
Do you want the fiduciary responsibility for your sibling and your half siblings of this role? And hopefully he says no, because it's a job, it's a task, it's a monumental task, especially for somebody in this capacity of accumulated this. Just all his awards alone, distributing that would be a task.
Sure. I want everyone to think for just a moment about just today in your life, starting with you waking up in the morning. You have a routine. You have what's normal for you. And the person who serves you might very well do it while you're alive. So look around your house. You might be listening to this in your car. You might be listening to this while you're working on something. Take a moment. Look around. How did you arrive at the place you are right now? And when you think about someone else being your fiduciary, you're going to be revealing a lot in your life to that person. Either you're going to tell them or they're going to discover it. And so as you think about this person you're going to select to do the work, a neutral third party sounds pretty good, right? Because we have private things. And what makes them private? Well, we just don't tell our kids those things. What makes me feel independent? It's that my family doesn't know about some of the things I do, where my friends might know, but my kids don't know. And so when you start blending your kids into your private business, it does change things. You were up on a pedestal. They thought about you one way, right? And then they discover you're just a person like anyone else. That may not be what you want. I'm just saying. So, it's a very important job and it's a very intimate job.
So there are some of the comments we wanted to talk about is legacy and gift planning for the Hanks and the Wilson family. Setting up a foundation.
Well, we know that they're very charitably minded, and we know Mr. Hanks for sure has really done a lot for veterans and other people. And thank you for all of that. So when you're thinking about your charitable intent, you intend to give. There's a couple of things I want everyone to think about. You might be able to afford to give quite a bit away while you're alive, or you might not, and you still have that desire that you want to help. Having an estate plan is a really great way to eventually give away funds because you can do it after you don't need the funds anymore. That's really the best. Maybe you want to name a charity so that, God forbid, your kids are not available to receive your bounty. It's possible. We've seen it happen where children predecease their parents. It's happened. It's terrible. But that's a what if. That's a what if we take care of in the estate planning documents by naming a charity or a charity like, and you can describe what that is so that your person, your successor trustee, can go ahead and donate money after your passing. In terms of setting up a foundation, usually you have quite a bit of funds to do that. And part of the purpose might be to involve your children in philanthropy and have them be party to giving some of it away. It's wonderful to have so much that you could give it away. Warren Buffett is a great example of that. He's brought his children in on it, and his children participate in the foundation in terms of where those funds will go each year.
And they all have to agree.
Right.
That was the interesting position of that.
And so that's not always easy to achieve. But, you know, when you're talking about giving away a specific dollar amount and you have so much to give, maybe you take turns. Maybe this year you agree to this particular charity, and next year, wink, wink, we're going to do my charity. You know, that's part of that communication and dealing with it. But keep in mind, too, a foundation, like any nonprofit organization, still has reporting requirements, still has informational returns to file. I mean, there's work to be done to keep it going. If you have a family business, you can't just let it languish. You actually have to deal with the business side of things.
And then the medical directives and religious considerations. Interesting.
Yeah. You know, I understand that some people convert when they marry the person that they love, maybe to the religion of the person that they're in love with. Maybe they really adopt it as their own. You know, conversion is kind of its own topic. You know, when you're happy, when you feel good about the person that you're with, and that seems like a small thing to give, do it, right? That's all fine. But maybe that's not how it goes. Maybe you really do come from very different cultures, and each of you maintain your culture, and your kids have learned to adapt and be utilizing both cultures where possible. I grew up in a multicultural household. And when my mother and father divorced, the visits, I'm translating at the visits, right? I'm the bridge child explaining what happened at that house. And so it's the kind of thing where if you're planning on being buried together, or you're both going to be cremated, or one would wish to be cremated and one's okay with being buried, those are great conversations to have. And I recognize there could be some tension because there are assumptions being made. So the challenge for everyone is to have an honest conversation about their expectations and what they want. So I have to share this one little story about a couple that I knew. And she very, very much wanted to be buried. Given her Judeo-Christian background and what she wanted and what she expected and how this should go, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, that's what she wanted. And he really just wanted to be cremated. That's really what he wanted. But he was afraid to tell her so because, well, she wanted to be buried together. In her mind, it meant eternity together. Don't you want to be with me forever? And so he gave in and signed the paperwork that he would be buried. But then he had some nightmares. And he added in his documents, in his advanced healthcare directive, that he is not to be buried unless he's been dead for at least a week.
He's not to be buried. Oh, okay.
Okay?
Gotcha.
He did not want to wake up underground. That was
his nightmare. Oh.
So the way he released his nightmare was by making sure in his documents
He was dead.
that he was really dead and dead before being buried.
Gotcha.
Okay. And any of us can relate to that.
Yep.
So if you have strong feelings, if there's something you're concerned about in terms of your future, and that's something you don't want, what you don't want is important as what you do want. And please, please, please put it in your documents and make sure your person knows.
And that's another part of this, the Hanks and Wilson story that I think is very apropos to the audience is they have business interests together.
Yeah.
A lot of entrepreneurs, their life partner is their business partner. Your spouse is your business partner in an ongoing entity, a for-profit business. Do you have a succession plan in your documents?
Yeah, we might have to save that for another episode because there's just so much to talk
into
about.
that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. Because here's a question for you to think about as we close. And that is, do you expect this business to go on without you? Or do you expect it to be sold or something when you're no longer the principal or you're no longer the one involved?
Or are you inviting your children in to be successful?
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that sometime soon.
I have to, because I have to end it on this. The Lily Wilson, one further Lily Wilson.
Oh yeah, your crush.
Is that okay? I do. I still have. You can still tell I have a crush.
I
on
do.
her.
I can tell.
As you can tell, because she was a cheerleader in the whole. She was the whole thing.
Ron, if you loved her, she was beautiful.
So what was cute about it? Again, she was the cashier, and in those days you actually had to press buttons and make change and weigh fruit and all those kind of things. And I was packing and we actually gave grocery bags away for free, and we would pack the groceries. And
you're dating yourself.
I know, I'm very dating myself. So when somebody would come along with carrots and the tops of the carrots, and I would ask the customer, "Do you want the carrots ripped off, or do you want the carrots with your groceries?" If they would say, "I want the tops of the carrots taken off," I would, rip them off and give them to Lily as flowers.
So you gave her the green tops, off the carrots, every opportunity.
Every opportunity. And again, she's looking at me like, dude, you're a 13-year-old, 14-year-old punk. I'm a 17, 18-year-old senior in high school going. Yeah. So there's my story.
We love those days. We love those days. So I might have said it earlier, but I'm going to ask the question. Tom and Rita, will you be ready when life asks, did you plan for this? Money management and legacy. Will you be ready for life?